Okay, I'm gonna just start working on documentation today. Uh, Last week where we left off, I had set up the projects, and let me bring over uh, the concept. So make sure I have all the artwork set up of what I have, and uh, went over some things. Created the GitHub project, and Sunday we actually went over some game design stuff, which is now on the GitHub project in some documentation, and it's only been documentation. Uh, and what is it? Oops. Uh, Only been documentation, and so got a little bit in the weeds with just describing the details of the classes, which is okay, but we need to. I'm gonna get back on track and start finding out the scope of this project. Get a bigger look. Start looking at the big picture, defining the big picture, instead of looking at these small details, such as what the classes are and what they do, what skills they have, because we got in too much detail last time. So let me get all this set up. So uh, since I have, looks like the project is good, just going to open up this, oops. Okay. Just gonna do documentation, that's it. And so you can see we define classes, uh, but I want to get an actual game design document in here. And we'll be doing, let's see, what does this open up? It opens up with Xcode, so it should read the markdown language and format it better. Let's see if it does. So at least our documentation looks nice, right? It does, looks good. So if I like highlight something, I can't do bolds, but this should bold it. There you go. Understanding a little bit information about that. So let me make a new document. That's going to be the game design doc. Let's see. Actually, I'm just going to make it from here. So where am I right now? Go into documents and go into game design. And yeah, I'm just going to create a new one. I'm just call it game design doc. Okay, and now I'm going to open this. Oops, I forgot to think it's this. I think I do Xcode. Nope, I think it's Xcode first and then document. Dang it, I forgot how to open things. Alright, I'm just gonna open it like this. Choose an application. And use Xcode. Let's see if this works. Doesn't look like it. Why? Didn't make it a markdown document. Oh, I put MB instead of MD. Silly me. I was like, what is going on? There we go. Alright, so oops, my bad. game design document. Okay. And so things that we need to actually start focusing on is actually the game, not the specifics of the game. So we're making an RPG adventure. Okay, let's just write some simple notes that we know right now. Fantasy-esque, I don't know if that's how it is, fantasy style RPG, fantasy style 2D 8-bit, or say RPG maker style artwork. And again, we can change that artwork if we choose to. I have a whole bunch of that artwork already. And let's see, what other things are we defining here? We want dungeons, right? So dungeons, dungeons. If I can spell dungeons, there's going to be a level system, right? A skill system, and classes. And we thought about making races, and possibly may keep races. And I'll just put maybe here. So obviously with a level system, I'll come back and we'll add more details to all these. So probably some kind of bosses and monsters. We definitely want side quests. Well, say there's a main quest, yeah, and then side quests. You need to have shops. Since it's a typical RPG game, there's gonna be, weapons, armor shops, maybe magical shops, general shops, potions and whatnot, maybe special items. RPG games are definitely massive on like the data and details of things. So let's see. We need to talk about the battle system. Since there is leveling, we need to, how do we level, right? It's most likely through the battle system, gaining that experience, right? And I think the battle system is going to be, oops, what did I do? The battle system is going to be turn-based. Why does it keep doing that? Turn-based. What else is there to really talk and describe this game? Need to define art style and game theme, because we were thinking about maybe it's not the typical medieval fantasy, maybe it's futuristic, or it's set in a different world, different plane, different universe, whatever it may be. Maybe it's set up in space. Okay, so as we come up with some stuff, so I'll just put game style. Oops. This is like weather is whether it is futuristic theme set in the underworld, whatever it may be, or space. So it's a game style, game theme, and then artwork references for that we need to start gathering, so we start coming up with better ideas. What the expectation is, right? Alright. And then, okay. So that's the game style, the game theme, right? And so we need like an art style as well, which we kind of decided as, well, it's going to be 2D since we're working in RPG Maker. And so that works with like the 48 by 48 RPG Maker MV styles, style set, and I'll add the link here. Actually, maybe I can just grab that real quick since I'm writing the documentation, to like people can understand the how to create artwork for RPG Maker MV. And let me just bring up their website and check it out. I think they have reference documentation somewhere. Oh, perfect. Sent me to the same place. Alright. There's... It might be in the app. How do I get the... It's RPG... The... Documentation. It's gotta be somewhere. What the heck? That's not it at all. Okay, let me check out this one. This might be worth looking into later on too. Someone seems to have put a bunch of documents together to cover, like, I guess, all the objects and classes inside of a RPG Maker. I'll have to check this out because I still haven't ever dived in too deeply into RPG Maker MV and editing these things. But that's what this project's about, to really deep dive into the source code of RPG Maker MV. And if I can only find those resources, here you go. Maybe this is it. Scripting documentation, API documentation. I might have to run the app. I didn't want to, but I think that might be where the documentation lives. No, that's not right. Okay, go away. Run this real quick. See, grab the documentation here. If it's here, help, contents. Yeah, it's locally. Dang it. Okay. You know what this means? It means that you're going to have RPG Maker to actually review this documentation. So, but let me bring it over here so you guys can see the documentation. Okay. So, basically what it is you have all this information about RPG Maker and some of its main features, but we're going to probably most likely work with the database, some maps, and we'll probably actually touch on everything. But how much we actually maybe dive into the source code and change, modify, we may not. But there is a section here that I was creating my own art assets about characters, and all this stuff kind of gives you exactly information that you need in order to make the proper sizes for your artwork. So you can see face, it goes inside the image faces directory, and images which are displayed in menu screen, menu message windows. Face images are 144 by 144. So they have to fit into these sizes. Otherwise they get cropped and you can't see them. And how you can set up parallaxes, and so there's a bunch of information here. And how you see the side view characters, which can be used for, you have two styles of the battle systems that come with RPG Maker. One is the side view battles, which is enemies on the left or right, and they face each other and they attack each other from those sides. The other one is, I believe it's still top down, just like if you were playing the game. And no, that's not true. They have like the Pokemon-esque vision where you stand behind somebody and you can select attacks. I'd have to look at it again. I can't remember exactly what it looks like. Okay, so here's the tile sets. And so set A is something I was talking about the other day, where you have A, you have B, you have C, and how it creates that pattern based on these images, right? And so you end up having this 9 image grid with only this small group defined. And you kind of group things together. So whoever the artists are, if we end up getting artists join the team, they need to read this documentation to understand exactly how the system works. You don't have to follow this system, of course. You could just paint things directly on. Um, right, so these are additive things, right? You have the base, you have additive parts. Um, and all this information is just explained here. It's well documented. It's actually really good. So then it says set B through E, upper layers when drawing the map. And you can organize these in like 16 by 16 arrangements. So the total size is 768. Um, the sounds that you can use, video files that you can use. So we can actually have cinematics if you want to. I have done that before. Auto tiles, and so some of these artworks can just be flat levels, which I think is like used for part like groups sets through B through E are kind of like additive things. They don't use any fancy stuff. You can just have tiles, and that's what a lot of people might do. Is they don't define like unique situations like this and create these diagrams, uh, because this took me a little bit to understand exactly what was happening. But once you understand what it's doing, uh, you have to define your artwork like that, and it becomes very useful because that's how you get the seamless textures and ground placements, the grass, the branch, trees and whatnot, the landscapes. Everything becomes seamless because the way they set these up. So if you just put one tree or you put a group of trees, this is what it looks like, right? So it ends up looking seamless. Uh, so the documentation is local. You can see here's my local directory for that content. So it's part of the engine. It's not online, which is helpful because if you're not online, you wouldn't be able to access it. This is some of the JavaScript stuff. I don't know why I thought it was all written in like some weird JSON formatting. I think it's all JavaScript. And we might dive into like some deep code here, or I might just do it on the side, unless people are interested in learning that stuff. But I think the main purpose of this game community is to develop the game, talk about game design, and kind of take out, uh, I guess, a lot of the work that it involves when making the new artwork, customizing the designs. But of course, we'll be able to do that. I have nothing against that. Uh, let's see. So I'll close that. I don't need it anymore. Steam. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So going back, since I'll just write that here. Documentation is local. So we'll do. Okay, so we kind of defined this saying we're using the RPG Maker styles. Um, right, style set should be followed. and that is defined in documentation. Okay. Let's see. What else is there? The dungeons. Okay, so we're not sure. As far as I know, um, let's go with, I don't know. This is part of the, let's say, battle system. So dungeons. Oops. Like, what is the thing with dungeons? We can have. Um, I mean, actually, we haven't actually decided if we want dungeons or not. The level system. We were kind of defining it before, saying that there's going to be, yeah, so gain experience from battles, right? From fights. You know, can we gain experience from other interactions? Maybe. If we treat this like Dungeons and Dragons, um, you can also gain experience. And actually, I really been wanting to do something like that where uh, you change the story based on the decisions and choices you make without actually letting the player know. Uh, I mean, like blatantly know, like they know because of the NPC's reactions. So I want to actually get that in this game as well. So maybe if we do treat it more like D&D, they players start with charisma, and maybe that charisma is affected based on the decisions they make. So gain experience in different aspects of uh, of the character. So not just like if you gain experience, you level up, but you level up in a variety of different ways and different um, what's it called, attributes. And if we stick to the D&D style of things, um, we have strength, if I can spell, strength, dexterity, right? What else is there? And I can't think. Charisma. Uh, yeah, I cannot think of it. Um, I'll just keep going. Other D&D stats, attributes. And so if you make, uh, if you start killing NPCs in the game, your charisma takes like a route towards the, uh, what's up, Zach? Your NPC will take kind of an evil route, kind of like what Fable did back in the day, where the decisions you made were either good or bad, and kind of led to those different things. Led to you getting a halo, and having a glow about you, versus you growing horns, having like your eyes turning red, being like an evil demon, and people running away from you constantly. And so different shops close down, and we can have all these kind of things. Uh, Decisions, we'll say story decisions. Actually, this should be part of something else, but I'll note it right here. Story decisions change the perception of the NPC, or of the main character, right? And affect the game. Um, the game features that. So, um, so that's the level system. So you wouldn't be able to, I guess, um, you would be able to level these things up, but I think these wouldn't be leveled up how you would expect them. Like you, in order to increase your charisma, you have to talk to NPCs. You have to be good or make uh, do bad things, and that changes your charisma. Where dexterity, maybe you try to do more stealthy missions and you increase your stealth that way, or you just could modify it by buying lighter armor or different types of things. Um, and this should actually go into the class section uh, as well. Leveling each attribute is done in a different way, in different ways. Uh, let's see. So, like, battles increase strength. And dexterity. But if you're like a wizard, it could increase your wisdom. Right? And so, wisdom. Oh, and intelligence. Actually, would increase your intelligence. Intelligence. Um, there's a sixth one, and it's like your toughness, your sturdiness, whatever it is. And so battles, of course, like increase your fighting ability. Basically, your fighting ability, right? And then just like any other like RPG game or out there, RuneScape, WoW, you can like focus on specific things and it'll increase your those abilities. And so maybe we'll have like a chef class, just like in RuneScape, where all you do is cook, and that increases your cooking skills. And that kind of maybe you can be uh, an alchemist and create uh, different objects that help your friends battle and become a support. So this kind of goes into the class, and I'll note these um, alchemists, and then I think apothecary would be a little bit different than an alchemist. I don't know how to spell apothecary. Um, Potion making, right? And maybe these are skills you get instead of them just being specific classes. Um, but you would increase those skills or those classes and attributes in different ways. Um, decisions, let's say decisions affect your charisma level. Maybe like solving puzzles. Maybe we'll have puzzles in the game. Solving puzzles uh, affects your wisdom and intelligence. Right. So definitely making it like more D&D esque. And then this kind of goes into the skill levels as well, or the skill system. Um, Actually, no, it doesn't, because the skill system is just going to be a list of skills based on your class. And as you level up, you unlock points. As character levels up, uh, points are given to be allocated to different uh, skills, right? And so that's basically it. So it should be very simple, straightforward. It just comes down to defining those skills. A little bit. And I wonder if I could, every time I stream, it can like, a bot can pick it up and go to the Discord channel. Probably can. Just need to figure out how to do that. So that's the skill system. Let's talk about the classes. Class and races. So like, I think having races is good, especially if we try to like stick to like a D&D type of world, because it gives a bigger variety. And if we can have this would be another cool feature to have in the game is the character generator. So if you can pick your class and you can pick your race, so I definitely want to have. I'm really wanting. I mean, if we're gonna be making an RPG game, fuck it, might as well go all the way out and just do everything like we want, because we're already gonna be making a large game. It's an RPG game. I was hoping we were gonna do something simple, but it is what it is. I mean, we're just gonna tackle it. So races, right? So the reason why we would have classes is, let's talk about the character generator. So this is definitely going to be a cool thing that I've been wanting to do for a long time. So being able to pick your race. And the race could be, I don't know, I guess anything. Like, I like how, I mean, if we really go in, we can have humans, right? And we can just have a huge list: elves, or typical dwarves. But then we get a little bit crazy. I even created a character that's a skeleton, undead. Maybe it can be a zombie, uh, werewolf, and you can kind of like, maybe we can start. This kind of becomes very crazy about how the uh, how involved the story can be, and then we can also let players define their own stories. Uh, my knight's pretty good, Zach. It's pretty good. How's your night, Zach? Good. Um, and then this goes into the story, which we'll talk about as well down here. Story. Because I like that idea that maybe also, like, I don't know if this is going to be possible, or how we find a way to make it possible. Allowing players to make their own stories, their own quests and stories, right? And then they can offer those stories and publicly like post them, and then other players can pick those up and do those quests. Um, so that would be something really cool, or they download it as like downloadable content, and they can play it as a one-off. Uh, we'll see how all that stuff goes. But that would definitely be cool. Okay. So, anyways, this having a race would definitely require uh, artwork. More artwork would have to be created. And then I don't think this is possible in the game. I don't think we would have to add this feature to the game. In RPG Maker. Like we can, there is a character generator in RPG Maker, but it creates a class, or it creates that character for you to, creates all that artwork that you can use in the game. So you just need to think about the investment and how long it would take to actually do this. Good. Um, yeah, I'll jump on Fortnite later tonight, and need to start playing more arenas. Okay. So, let's see. Another one I want to make is like, I'm surprised like Twitch doesn't show like who's watching now, which I think is crazy. It just shows, well, maybe it does. I don't know. Okay. So I need to make bots for that too. Just like welcome people into the chat whenever I find time for that. Maybe later this week. I've been wanting to do that. Okay, so having this character generator, we'd have to have a lot of artwork available. Um, and this goes for like when they start buying items in the shop, whatnot. So as well. So I mean, if we want that players to buy a new sword, we should be able to see it in game, right? If we have a shop item, you can't just have the player using the same sword throughout the entire game. So most likely we'll be doing a lot of artwork, depending on how vast this game gets. Let's see. So more artwork would have to be created for all these custom classes, or all these races, and we'll have like a set of races that we want to do. So maybe I'll eventually create a timeline, a deadline for say, okay, well this is what we're gonna make because we want to have a demo for next year's level up, right? Um, so I'll have to eventually do that. Classes, like we've defined before, the classes that we've talked about were Knight, Wizard, and Cleric. But of course, uh, there could be a lot more classes. And could also have so what's the class? I should define it, say what it is. So class is defined as, oh no, like the job of the character. Alright. And it defines its fighting style. Right, so wizard would use magic, knight would use shield and sword, or just a sword, and so cleric heals with magic. Uh, and then like if we have a class like an alchemist, they could create weapons and use those weapons. You can have like a gunslinger, whatnot. Uh, but maybe the alchemist is like a subclass that you could have. So we can talk about like subclasses and then multi-classing. Actually, I'll do multi-classing down here. Let's see. Let's see. Multi-classing. So subclasses, right? And so that can be um, additions to the character um, or uh, just for the character benefits, such as being able to create its own potions or whatever. And again, like a lot of this stuff is making the game huge. It's going to be a massive game now. Having a character generator, that's probably can be postponed for a feature later on. This skill system, level system, there's all, we'll go over everything and see what I want to cut and push off to version like 2.0, because this is turning into a multi-year project now. Let's see. Multi-classing, so classes, but does not pertain to subclasses. Okay, so let's see. Let's just do characters, and then we'll just say character generator. I think I can do that, and I think that creates a break. No, it doesn't. I forgot how to do that. Okay, that's okay. So bosses, I guess. Okay, so we'll have another one that's considered as monsters, and that goes into, and this goes into NPCs as well. Bosses and monsters. We'll do story, and then actual story, I guess. Let's go over shops. Yep, shops needed. Okay. All right. So let me scrap all this. Did I talk about the battle system yet? Level system, skill system. let's actually have this as two separate things. Then this will be leveling, skills. Yeah, battle system. So talk about dungeons and say it's turn-based. That will make things a little bit simpler for us, uh, and how we want to do things. So I would say side view. I think is good. I'm gonna have to look up the other one too. Let me see if I could look it up real quick. RPG battle system. You just check out some images. Okay. So here is one. Again, not my artwork. Here's one. So you battle here, and they face you, right? So they're kind of like front facing, and then you've got your side views, right? So you can fight a monster. I personally like side view. I think that's cool. You get more real estate, I think. Let's see if there's another one. I mean, and then again, we can customize it however we want. I just prefer to have it um, defined, essentially. So, but let's see. So you can do something like this if it's only going to be one character, or if you're going to have multiple characters. Uh, and then we have the background, and we can customize backgrounds however we want. Fried chickens, why not? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so they have front facing, so you can have like a character here, and you would just see the boss. So like maybe boss battles could be something like this. Um, let's see, maybe or not. That's fine. That's not what I wanted. Image. Perfect. I like how it's just like a super small image. Okay, so you guys got the idea. That's fine. Let's see. Probably just talk about this a little bit more. This would be a huge thing as well, so we'd probably hold off on that. Bosses. So actually, probably gonna put this under the battle system. I think I can use 4. Might be the same. Yeah, I think it is. Probably will just make this. Alright, let's see. Yeah, so shops, I mean, typical shops, weapons. So you got your blacksmith, you'll have your general shop for your potions, and armor shops, right? Um, I won't just say shops, I'll say like buildings as well. Because you have like some NPC houses as well. Houses. Um, Maybe I will do this. Buildings and ignore my craziness here. Being so specific about things. I mean, I think this kind of helps give that better vision, that better idea of what we're trying to make. So those are the shops. So we need like houses. Oops. Buildings. Other, I guess. So like houses that we can like go into. Because people sleep right in the game world, right? We try to make it a little bit realistic. Maybe they're not houses you can go into, but this is where like you go to the tavern, you get information. You go to town halls, and what did they say? Centers. Can't think of courtyards. Say like courtyard. You do like things like kind of special events, like festivals are happening, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that we can go on do. Story. And then actual. So main quest and then actually like narrative. So I can use different words. Okay, so let me go over this once more. Keep this one, I guess, real short today. So it's RPG adventure game. No game title yet, right? And we haven't decided if we're going to be making it chapter based. Because maybe we can just what's it called? Come out with the game, but then come out with small releases first, and then like have like a chapter one come out, right? So this is like maybe 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road. It's like, hey, here's chapter one, and here's chapter one beta or alpha. Here's alpha version one. Let do more updates for another like 3 months, and they say, hey, here's the beta of chapter one. You added all these new features. Let us know what you think. Get some feedback. And then another 3 months go by, and then we come out with a new version of beta and say, hey, this is getting really close. So I mean, this is like an entire year working on this project, right? Because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of information, even without doing all the artwork. What you then do is, after that year, we have that beta, and that's what we demo at next year's Level Up Expo, which would be fantastic. So you definitely want to have a guideline for that, and so I'll put that here as well, as a demo, I guess, game expectations. And so what I want to see is Alpha 1 is 3 months away, right? And what do I want to see in that? From now, which would say, let's start from March and say March, April, May, June. So 3 months. So by June 1st, right? And that's what I'm going to say. What should be in this, right? Then we've got Alpha 2, 3 months after that. So July, so June, all of June, July, August. So September 1st, right? What should be in this, right? And then Beta 1 would be 3 months after this. Which would be then September, October, November. So November 1st. And then Beta 2 would be 3 months. And that would be November, December, January. So that leads us into February, right? February 1st. Did I do that right? So we're in March, April, May, 1st of June, July, August, 1st of September, October. Oh, sorry. Yeah, September, October, November. See, I did mess that up. So June, July, August, September, October, November. And so it would be December 1st. And so then December, January. We can't do all of February, of course, because I think Level Up Expo will most likely be in February again. So we're going to have to do 2 months for Beta 2. Ending June 1st. Work ending September 1st. Okay. So that kind of takes us all the way to the next Level Up Expo. And if we last that long, hopefully we do. Since I've been doing this consistently so far, I mean, I think, at least I think I'll be able to do it. Doing 8-bit art, 16-bit art, definitely tough. It's got its challenges, but I'll try my best if I end up being the only one working on it. But I definitely do want to have a lot of these features. Just need to figure out, okay, what do I want in these builds when we start pushing these things out? And whether or not do we want people playing the Alpha 1? Do we want people playing Alpha 2? Or just wait 6 months down the road and then we come out with Beta 1, and that's what we let people play. So, and I'm going to put this here. Or whatever, monkey king. And so I will still take the producer role and make all final decisions on everything. But I'll try not to intervene that much. So, yeah, I think that's good for today. Thanks for joining, guys. I guess I'll see you guys again tomorrow. We'll go over more of this documentation again, defining that clear idea. Yeah, just jumping off now. I'm gonna go play some Fortnite. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna push this stuff. Let's see. It's added game time. Cool. And let's see. What's the branch name? I did call it Alpha. All right. So that's cool. All right. See you guys. Yes. What's the question? Yeah, Zach. The one that I had picked out was I think I gave him 500 gig SATA without any additional hardware or hard drives. Okay, I was on for an hour. That's not bad. Okay.